All right, so we went outside, we found what our issues were, we were up in the attic, we fixed the problem, but now we gotta fix what happened because of the problem. And you can see this was bubbling because what happens, moisture gets in, the sheetrock starts to expand, but the paint actually becomes kind of a little barrier that holds the water, so it'll start sagging down. So the first thing we gotta do is knock this down, and let's see actually what somebody else had already done up here before. All right, obviously that's a bigger hole than we're just gonna patch. So we are now to this point where we're gonna be putting in some sheetrock in order to fix this properly. Okay, now we're getting back to what the original hole was that somebody came in here and fixed at some point in time. And there was no call for that. Look at that. We got a ceiling joist right there. Beautiful place to go ahead and install a piece of sheetrock and do this repair right. Don't shortcut. When you shortcut on these things, you're gonna end up redoing them anyways. So here's what we're gonna do. Since we have a ceiling joist across here, we have a nail plate here. Here's where we actually did our repairs. I'm gonna go ahead and square this up where I can install a new piece of sheetrock. All right, so we got our hole cut. We went out in the garage and we cut a piece of sheetrock. Now before we stick it in here though, you can see we got some sheetrock mud up in here from when the original work was done. And I'm talking back when the house was built. And if you've ever noticed, the edge, the factory edge on sheetrock is tapered a little bit. The reason for that, you'll put it into corners like this, or if you're doing a wall, you have the two tapered edges. That's where you put your tape and mud in order to finish out the sheetrock the way it's supposed to be. I need to finish cleaning out that little mud up there though, so we can tuck this piece up into the wall. All right, we got our piece in. I put a little mark on each side of my ceiling joist so I can see where to put my screws in. And we're going to actually use screws instead of nails. And the main reason, I just don't want to be hammering up here and making a huge mess. And a lot of times screws will go in with a lot less effort than putting in nails. Now you want to sink those screws just a little bit. If I was hanging a big piece of sheetrock, you'd put two screws, 2 inches apart, the screws, and you do that every 8 inches. But since we're just putting a patch in, I don't need to put that many screws. We're not going to have that much weight pulling down on it. All right, now we're ready to sand our texture off around it, and after we've sanded it, we're ready to go ahead and tape and float this. It's going to take more than one coat of mud, but the first coat, you got to get that tape on there to seal these edges, take care of this corner, then you can go ahead and feather it out with your second and possibly even a third coat. After that, it's time to texture.